What's up YouTube, and welcome to Homebrew Subaru. In this episode I'm going to be upgrading some lighting on the Forester and adding some more lighting, particularly to the rear. Now, looking at what Subaru gives you from the factory for backup lights or reverse lights, they are, needless to say, quite poor. The tail lights on the vehicle almost light up more than the reverse lights do, and well, I'm trying to get a little bit more light for, the really dark areas where I go. When I want to back up, I just want to be able to see everything. Now what I've decided to do is upgrade the factory bulbs to some very bright LEDs, and I found these on Amazon. These are the brightest, most expensive probably, 921s that you can buy. So it's a little awkward of a style bulb. It's not a full-size bulb, and that's part of the reason that they're so dim in the vehicle. So upgrading these first of all is going to give me quite a bit of light. But then I've also had these two LED bars lying around that I actually bought to put into the 240 as fog lights. But since then, many moons ago, I got the actual Canadian daytime running lights to put into the 240SX's bumper. So these have just been lying around doing nothing, and I've decided, well, if I put these up on the rack and use them as secondary backup lights or reverse lights, they are going to provide all the extra light that I'm looking for. So first I'm going to add these 921 bulbs into the actual lenses and see what those look like, and then go about wiring up a circuit so I can have these switch on and off. So these bulbs are pretty simple to change out. Just two 10mm bolts that hold the actual lamp into the vehicle. And then the bulbs down here, just a small one. So there is the old bulb. And I think there's a good chance that these will work in either direction, but you'll definitely want to check it before fastening everything up. Just see it's all surrounded with some small SMDs and then some bigger ones and almost like a little projection lens. Put the vehicle in reverse and we'll see how that lights up. Oh yeah, that's going to be pretty bright, I think. It looks pretty bright from here. Just a quick comparison, the left side to the right side. I'll get this side fastened up, we'll change the other one and see what they look like in the dark. And you should be able to tell right away how much more light is inside the garage here just from changing those factory bulbs out to the LEDs. I mean, they are a lot brighter than the taillights are now, whereas the taillights were brighter than the reverse lights beforehand. That's actually going to be an awesome upgrade for most vehicles with older incandescent lights in the rear. Something I would recommend. And a lot of today's vehicles, the reverse lights are a lot brighter and you can see in behind the vehicle a lot easier. So now that I got those reverse lights in, I can go ahead and start working on these LED bars, and they are basically going up top here, up on the rack on the underside, which might hang a little low. Maybe get them closer to the outer edge of that spoiler, or right out to the edge. But to get them fastened on there, I am going to use these stainless straps for the exhaust wrap. I've bought so much exhaust wrap over the years. The 240SX and the Impreza both have it, and well, I've ended up with quite a few extra of these stainless straps. So they are stainless steel, and it's going to be better than just having a zip tie holding these on. The brackets these came with just aren't suitable to actually mount it to the bar, and I want something a little simpler than drilling holes and creating more spots where things can rust. Just using those stainless straps and strapping the lights right to the bar is not only going to keep them fastened on there and secure, but they're not going to rust afterwards. I actually want these to be able to disconnect instead of soldering all the connections up and wiring. I wasn't able to find any 2-pole connectors, so I'm going to use this trailer connector and basically split the thing down the center so I have 2 connectors on either end so that I can solder those connectors to the wiring. Nothing's going to be really seen. I'm probably going to tape it all up keep it nice and waterproof, or as best I can anyway. And then operate it with one of these switches. I bought a pile of these switches cheap on Amazon, so that they can be turned on and off from that fuse. No relay needed, because, well, they're going to draw so little that if anything happens, the fuse will just pop. So I'm going to go ahead and get these installed and start running some wiring to them, kind of figure out where I want to put this switch, and then just put everything in and see what it all looks like together. So I've just been doing a little bit of testing, and I've got everything wired. I've got the switch mounted up here, and all the wiring gets brought into the center console, which is where I wired up my heated seats. And then I decided to go ahead and also place a switch up here, which is going to power up this 12-volt socket with a USB adapter in there, so that I can plug in my dash cam and tuck to all the wiring for it. Alright, so the center console is all back together. The switches are mounted right where I want them. I've got the wiring for the dash camera going along the ceiling and down the A-pillar, and it goes down all the way across underneath the dash up into the center console and plugs into that 12-volt socket, so it will power on with the switch there, and then my rear lighting will turn on with that switch there. And I also went ahead and changed out this USB stick. This one just poked out so far that it was just waiting to be snapped off. So I've got this really low profile 32 gig. I'll just stockpile it with all sorts of music, and I'll be able to keep it there without, you know, eventually breaking it off someday. So let's test things out here. With the ignition on. And we'll just hit the camera. It'll probably take a second to actually sound on and turn on. But it's got the little white indicator light there to indicate that it is powered up. And we can see the red LED is on.
Recording started.
And there it starts recording.
Wi-Fi enabled.
And then I can just go ahead and turn it off, and the camera will turn right back off. Same with the rear lights. So I can turn them on and off right here, and it indicates when they're on, so I won't be leaving them on when I'm going down the highway, hopefully. Now let's first have a look without the actual reverse lights on. So you can see there they are on, but I'll show you how I brought the wiring back. It just basically comes through the center console along the floor, and then right along here, along this edge, and then I pulled the weather stripping out. It goes in behind this panel, and behind this panel, all the way to the top here. It may be a little bit hard to see, but it just basically goes underneath the weather stripping, curls right over top of that pinched steel lip, and then up underneath here to plug in right on top. So we'll see what these are like from here, and wow, they are bright. Definitely a lot brighter than the actual reverse lights. Next, I'm going to kill the shop lights and turn on the reverse lights first, so you can kind of see what that is from that perspective, and then turn on those top lights as well. And then here's the top lights. And I mean, you can see that is a ton of light. Like, it is really bright. And have a lot of light on the floor and the ground, and then there's a lot of light up high, it's going to illuminate an entire area. And then from this point of view, in comparison to the start of the video when I just had the original incandescent lights in there, it's so much brighter. It's really quite amazing, actually. I've got that much light now. Now really I can think of a few reasons of why these are a benefit to have, and the first one being like they're a backup to the backups. So the reverse and backup lights, if they were to fail, I've got a second set now. Now the second reason I can think of is having some rear spotlights while the vehicle's in first gear or in neutral. So say you're going up a steep incline and you need to roll back a little bit. You put the clutch in and let the vehicle start rolling back, but keep it in first gear, so if I get into a little bit of a situation I can at least accelerate back up, but not have to put it in reverse to get some reverse light, if you know what I mean. And well, the third reason being having that much extra light. You know, being in these remote, really dark locations far away from the city, having as much light as possible, getting back into these situations, or backing down a hill, or backing into a campsite, backing up to a little bit of water, whatever the situation is, having all that extra light is just going to benefit me for sure. Now I'm really glad to have those done. I'm going to wait for nightfall, pull the Forester out beside my place, and just light up the lane beside there just to see what they look like. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.